So the entire Delhi has flooded again in a few hours rain. So this is what happens with Delhi in any weather, whether it is summers, it is winters, or it is the rainy season. In summers, we experience extreme heat wave conditions, and in winters, we experience extreme air pollution. And in the rainy season, we experience extreme flooding. So last year was also the season when the flooding in Delhi broke all the records. We have with us KT Ravindran, who is a renowned town planner and architect. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So what is the reason? In just few hours of rainfall, Delhi has flooded again.
Well, Delhi has a peculiar problem compared to all other major cities, where often floods are related to the presence of rivers, and the flooding is from the river and so on. But in Delhi, the matter is reverse, in the sense that the flooding always happens when water that falls into the city is unable to flow back into the river.
Right.
So that's a very specific reason why Delhi is flooding. And this is largely due to faulty planning of the city, because we have never considered the qualitative aspects of land, its nature, how its lay of the land, where the flow is from, where is the higher areas, where are the lower areas, how does the water flow happen. This has never been studied as an ingredient that should go into planning. So the result is that very often our proposals and constructions are running contrary to the flow of water. So naturally,
when the
those
first
areas
master plan for Delhi was prepared, sir, then the population of Delhi was around 20 lakhs. And the master plan was prepared for, I think, next 20 years. And it was estimated that more 20 lakh people would be added to the population, but it went up to 58 to 60 lakh. And is it that we are still working on the master plan, which was prepared for 20 lakh people?
No, actually, that's not the case. We have subsequently been revising the master plans. But unfortunately, even when the master plan gets revised, they never look at the lay of the land. They don't look at the land as a primary resource for planning. They only look at land as a primary economic resource, in the sense that what is its value and what kind of use can you put there. So this is the approach which has led to this poor flooding, poor conditions now, which is every year it floods when it rains, because the flow of the water and the lay of the roads are contrary to each other.
Right. So do you remember when was the last master plan prepared for Delhi?
There is a present master plan now, and a very new master plan, which has just gotten ready a couple of years ago, and that is now in place. But that also has not considered the flow of the land. Actually, there are very good scientific systems by which you can measure and assess the slope of the land and the contours of land, so that we can assess where the water is flowing. But unfortunately, that correlation is never made between planning and analysis of land. There is a full-fledged satellite plan available for Delhi, which also has recorded its slopes, but that plan is not in the public domain.
Are we working on that plan, sir?
No, we are not working on that plan. We have put that aside, that information, and the master plan is running parallelly on some other parameters. So this is one fundamental problem in planning in Delhi. We have many examples. Sarai Kale Khan is the best example you can take. Today, Sarai Kale Khan has got water up to the waist level on all the roads. It's a very densely populated low-income area. And almost half the floors on the ground floors are all underwater. There's not been power. The road networks have been cut off. Power has been cut off because to ensure safety that no one gets electrocuted by coming in touch with water. It's a good move, but it's prevented people even from going out to work. And a lot of them are daily wage laborers who live in that area. And they're all literally marooned by this condition. And if you look at the lay of the land, Sarai Kale Khan is the lowest land area in the entire South Delhi. That's from where the land got into direct contact with water. The water used to flow into Yamuna River. First, during the British period, they brought in the railway line, which created a bunt, and it was actually blocking the flow of the water. Then they built a ring road. During our post-independence time, they built the ring road, which is also blocking, as a second layer, is blocking the flow of water. Then you have the Yamuna floodplains, which have been extensively developed. So there is no way the water can go anywhere. Water has to stay where
I was told by a former commissioner of DDA that 10,000 hectares of Yamuna floodplains, and out of this, around 6,000 hectares is currently the active floodplain, and 3,000 to 4,000 hectares has been encroached upon.
No, there is a lot of encroachment, and who is allowing this encroachment?
Right.
We have no shortage of rules. We have no shortage of authorities. But why are they not implementing the rules? I have seen huge colonies which are 5-6 floors high, densely built without following any norms, getting built up continuously along the riverbed. And they don't see it. Why?
What do you think, sir, the regularization of these illegal, unauthorized colonies, 2,000 of them are still to be regularized. Do you think this is the right step, that these colonies should get regularized, or what should be done? Do we have any other way, or this is the only way left for Delhi now?
No, there are other ways. And I think when we look at the issue of housing, it is not just a question of town planning, or it's just a question of development. It is a question of lives of human beings. Thousands of people, I mean, half the city lives in such areas. And they are living in such areas because they've been pushed to live there. Nobody wants to break the rule. They're forced to break the rule because there's no other way they can negotiate.
Forced and allowed. Forced and allowed.
Sorry?
So I said forced and allowed.
Yeah, forced and allowed, because they're forced because primarily the land development does not, they've failed to provide low-income housing, sufficient number of it. And in fact, DDA was set up to provide low-income housing. Its original purpose was to set up low-income housing to meet the demands in the city. But they have never met their targets. They have done quite a bit of housing. I'm not saying that they've not done it. They have done extensive areas of development, but the demand has always overshot their attempts. And there's not even enough investment which is willing to go into low-income housing. And they have not designed the financial mechanism in such a way that people can participate and get their own places built. Everything is under strict control. The land is controlled by Land and Development Organization. So it's not in the open market. You cannot negotiate the land, negotiate the cost of the land for any average person to be able to find a place to live. Today, even when a government officer retires, if they already don't have a house there, where will they go? They'll have to go to Meerut to find a place which are affordable. They can't live in Delhi. I'm talking about an average middle-class person who retires from a secure job and a secure housing of a government employee. Where do they go? They can't afford to buy land in the, so leave alone buying a house, flat. They can't afford any land either. So naturally, if people have to live close to where they are working, which is why they come into city, they will have to settle in areas which are close to their places of work. There's no other option for them. So it is also a human condition that we need to worry about. It's not just a question of planning.
So how do you think we can address this problem?
Well, it has to be projectized, it has to be seen as a full-fledged project where you identify areas which requires rehabilitation and you develop a strategy to rehabilitate people. Something that is done at the scale of the requirement in the city will make sure that we have a thriving economy where construction activity is always providing jobs and a financial mobility for the market, because there is such a huge demand. But why is it that we are not strategizing? Every now and then we say, okay, we'll regularize. What is regularization? Regularization means providing amenities which are available to other citizens in higher income areas, providing the same amenities to these people who live in abject, degraded conditions. They don't have any sewage system. They have very narrow land. A fire tender cannot enter. If there is an earthquake, the whole place will come tumbling down because there's no control over the kind of construction. It's a disaster waiting to happen. And why is it that we have no strategy to rehabilitate them? Those are questions that we need to ask.
So I was hearing about the storm water drainage system of Delhi, which experts believe that it is centuries old, 50 years old, 60 years old, and in some cases, even 100 years old, storm water drainage system. And the capacity has already halved since then, and population has grown to a great extent. So what do you have to say about that?
So tell me, since when has the capacities of the drainage been a criteria for planning and development? Which master plan, which town planner has ever considered that? It's never considered. Water system is just to be exploited, not to be seen as an ingredient that should go into planning.
Right.
Water system is only seen as something from where you can tap drinking water. Now we are getting drinking water from Tehri Dam and various places in UP and Haryana. We are all dependent on it. That's how the water crisis now happened, because of these dependencies. Because the master plan always is planning itself on a deficient water supply system. It squarely accepts that if the demand is X, X minus 2 is what is available. And they plan more and more development based on that. They plan dense housing in areas where there's no groundwater available. Places like Vasant, Hunch and all are on the rent for a long time. And the water is being pumped into those places because they've allowed that to happen. DDA itself has developed the housing in a place which is water deficient. So where is the planning with regard to water? In my view,
all this flooding, all the situation that we see around today is due to no planning at all. Is this what you want to say, sir?
No, it's not because there is no planning. It is
there's
because
planning,
of
planning and no
it is
implementation.
because of poor planning that many places are flooding. But it's only fair to say that that's not the only reason why there are floods. Floods are also there because the quantum of rainfall that Delhi receives is also changed. We all know that climate change has made it very, very erratic. We know that it's made it very erratic. So there are new challenges which are facing the city, but then for heaven's sake, take cognizance of it because we have to continue to inhabit this city. There is no way we can push it under the carpet. It has to be confronted. And you cannot work against water. You can only work with water. Where is that attempt to understand how the hydrological systems of the city are working and how is it being the main driver for making planning decisions? It's
How
not
would
there.
you like to conclude it, sir?
No, I'd only like to conclude on a positive note that the problem is it's never too late to tackle any problem. And if we can take cognizance of the fact that water and land form is an important ingredient of our development issue, then we can make more intelligent decisions which will reduce this problem.
Thank you, sir.
That's
Thank
what
you for
I
being
think.
with us.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you.